Hi, my name is Leo Lavender. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm going to be reading this little, essay thing that I wrote called I Used to Be a Truscum and Now I'm Happy Instead. I only realized recently that there was a direct correlation between my sudden internalized transphobia and with my gender therapist. He had a traditional, transphobic idea of transness and transition, similar to Truscum's. He constantly asked if people saw me as a man or as a woman. He implied that I didn't pass, that I needed to start my transition, and that I needed to get a haircut. This is when my hair was down to my chin. He saw my gender nonconformity and had this insistence that passing and emulating cis men would make me happier. It didn't, and it hadn't in the past. But I shaved my head. I was ashamed of who I was. The things he said made me feel like my manhood was not inherent, but something that needed to be proven and gained. It was a reminder of how our society misunderstands trans people, a promise of misgendering, transphobia, and danger in my future. Assimilate or suffer. When I first came out as trans, I was this proud demi-boy, experimenting with makeup, hairstyles, and clothes. Every new thing I tried with my expression brought me excitement and euphoria, a connection with my gender that I had never experienced before. Before realizing I wasn't a girl, I felt constant discomfort. It never felt right. It felt like I was pushing myself into a box that I just couldn't fit into. Trying to fit into masculinity and cishet maleness felt the same. When I told people I was gender nonconforming and non-binary, I was met with disgust and disbelief, complete unacceptance. I remember telling my mom that I couldn't wait to get on testosterone so that I could have a beard and wear a dress. I was met with absolute disgust. Why would you want to do that? And so I renounced my gender. I said that I was just confused because of Tumblr and Too Cutes. I became a Truscum, binary, FTM, obsessed with passing, with the agony of not being able to medically transition, adamant about the science of transness. It's not a choice, it's not my fault, as if there was something wrong with transness. Again, I felt constant discomfort. I look at pictures of myself at this time and I am unrecognizable. It's like I was wearing a costume again, once again stiff and hiding parts of my body, trying desperately to get validation and acceptance. Hyperfemininity was replaced with hypermasculinity. At some point, I stopped looking at Truscum content entirely. I was tired of the constant hatred and negativity, who I'd become. I am still unlearning the trans and NB-phobic biases that they taught me, still unlearning self-hatred, still unlearning trans medicalism and cis bootlicking, still unlearning the instinct to analyze who is really trans and who is not. Slowly, over time, I gravitated to femininity and androgyny again, a gender expression that felt more like myself. Eventually, I started watching trans creators who celebrated their trans identity, who had an expansive and uncritical view of transness, who believed there was nothing wrong with looking trans. It's beautiful. People who view their transness as a source of pride rather than as a curse, a freedom of expression and identity, a transition based on my desires and sense of self rather than on others' perception of me. I slowly started to feel more comfortable identifying as non-binary again, 4 years after coming out and then essentially closeting that part of my gender. I surrounded myself with other supportive queer people, including non-binary and gender non-conforming trans people. Getting on testosterone made me gravitate more towards femininity to balance the masculine traits and have the androgynous look that excited me years ago. I am still unlearning internalized transphobia, still learning to correct people when I am misgendered, still learning to let go of shame. But just by being myself, unapologetically, I feel so much better. I feel more euphoria than dysphoria. I've realized that my transition isn't and has never been about fitting into a box or being accepted by cishet society. My goal is to feel more like myself, to have a body and expression that makes me feel beautiful, whole, connected. I am no less my gender on or off T. I am no less me with the parts of my body that make me dysphoric. I am no less me when I am misgendered or dead named. I am affirmed by my inherent me-ness. I am affirmed by my gender expression. I am affirmed by whatever steps I choose to take to medically transition. I am affirmed by my name and pronouns. I am me when I am happy, when I accept myself, when I live however and as whoever I want to be. I am not affirmed only by the acceptance of others. I am affirmed by being myself, completely, unapologetically, and without shame. That was it. That is my bird walking around in the background. She is so fucking loud.